Shalom uvracha, and welcome back to another episode of Semichas Chaver Talks. This week we have the tremendous chus to fly all the way to Manchester and hear from Rabbi Shaya Klyne, who's the associate Rav of Or Yerushalayim, and you'll hear incredible stories, incredible halacha, his Mesorah, where he went to yeshiva, mamish, incredible things, and also there was like a mythos, like a real Rebbe's story, I guess you could say, that happened in his chabura, that came about through the limud Torah, the schos of Torah, and how it has a tremendous effect. So let's jump right in, and here we go. Shalom uvracha, and welcome back to another episode of Semichas Chaver Talks. Today we have the tremendous schos to be sitting down and learning from Rav Shaya Klyne. Rav Shaya Klyne is the associate Rav at Or Torah. He's also a Ram in Manchester, Mesifta, and he also has a legal halacha estate planning practice. So it's mamish Torah Gdula b'makom echad, I think we can say, and it's a big schos to sit with the Rav all the way from Manchester, like we mentioned before. I think you were the first chabura in Manchester. I think now there's already more than one. So Ashrach, and always the first one that's there is always the one that's spreading. So let's jump in. Let's hear a little bit about Reb Shaya, where you're from, Me'ayin Bata, who are you Rabbeim, what yeshivas did you learn in, and we're all yours.
Sure. So Shkoyach Rabbi Liada, thank you for the opportunity. Very, very exciting to be here. Actually, when I first saw that you were starting this podcast, it got me very excited because people like to feel part of something much bigger as well. And when it's more than just the shir and the chabura, and they can see there's hundreds. I think there's probably a few hundred Magidi Shir now? How many are there?
Yeah, we're over 200, 250 around.
Wow, blenera.
Yeah.
So we don't even feel part of something much bigger and better. So that's fantastic. Just one correction, what you said. It's Or Yerushalayim. I know it's in Manchester, but the shul's Or Yerushalayim. Baruch Hashem, I've got tremendous chus to be the associate Rav there. So the senior Rav is Rabbeim Cohen Shlita, who, I learned a tremendous amount from. We've been working together. I mean, he's the senior Rav, I'm the associate Rav for 6 years now. B'lai. And so I'm very much a Talmud of his. But interestingly, I started my own personal halachic journey with his son. When I was in Gates Yeshiva, so it was my first year, and it was the beginning of Summer Zaman, so that's like just after Pesach. And his son, who's called Reb Shalom Cohen, he was an Avrich, probably in his mid-30s at the time. And he comes into the base of Medrash, and I heard that he's looking for a Talmud to learn halacha seder with. So I thought, fine, fantastic. And I said, let's do it. And we learned halacha seder every single day for 2.5 years, and we finished the entire Chelik Gimel Mishnah Berurah. So for me, that was very much my entrance into learning halacha. I got tremendous kishmak of it. I remember when we had Shilas, he would call his chavrusa immediately. His chavrusa is called Rabbi Vrumi Aaron, who's one of the big rabbonim in Gateshead now. And we had any Shilas, any practical Shilas. He was like, I'm not sure. We'd look at Piskei Teshuvos, look at this, and he'd call it Rabbi Vrumi, his chavrusa, and they were straight into it. And I remember their pilpul between them. Maybe Azoi. It got me so excited, and I very much wanted to be. I wanted to be like that. So it really rubbed off on me. And like I said, b'siyat d'shmaya, I did not know Rabbeim Cohen at the time at all. But b'siyat d'shmaya, 10, 15 years later, I found myself taking a post working under his father, Rabbeim. So that was tremendous siyat d'shmaya. So I went through Gates Yeshiva, and then went on to yeshiva called Shari Chachma. That's Rav Shlomo Reich's. People who are from England will recognize the name. That's when it just started. This is going back about 16, 17 years ago. And then I learned in the Mir. Well, I think you also there, Rabbi Liada?
I was there for a tkufa,
yeah. For tkufa. So I was also in Beis Shaya. I only know that you were in Beis Shaya in the Mir because I listened to David Tukentaf's SCP podcast. So.
Yeah, but I never did halacha there. I was more in the
right. I also didn't. So I was in Mir, and then I joined the kollel after I got married, and my first ever sugya shmait ali b'de hilchsa was hilchas zimun. Zimun. And I still remember clearly, and I've said this so many times in the past in shiurim, I still remember clearly that before the Zaman started, one of my friends said, "What? We're learning Hilchas Zimun for a whole Zaman?" I mean, he joked. He said, 2 men, 3 men, is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 3? Is it 2? And we were having a bit, a bit of a laugh, a bit of a litzonos about it. And I remember feeling, whatever it was a summer Zaman that we learnt it. I remember feeling at the end of the Zaman how we mamish hardly scraped the surface. And again, this was like my next introduction. Learn Mishnah Berurah, but this was now learning Shmaitz Lieb Hilchsa, seeing Gemara, Shitaisus, the Rosh, Rabbeim Yoina, Torah, Yosef, etc., etc. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful, and it reminded me of an idea that my father told me when I was a kid, that the Torah is like a hair, Har Sinai, right? The Torah is like a hair, because the further you are from it, the smaller it seems. And the closer you get, the bigger it is. And I feel that Semichas Chaver B'Chlal does that. People talk to their Rav and ask them a shayla, and they're told, yes or no. Okay, yes or no, I can do the same thing. But then when they see the sugyas, and it just becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, they just see the vastness of Torah. So that was my introduction to halacha. I then moved to Manchester, where I learnt for a short tkufa in Whitefield Kollel under one of my Rabbeim, Reb Aryeh Masha, who made a big roshim on me, particularly in Derech HaLimud. There was a Semichas Chaver sugi that we learnt there as well. We learnt Mukta for a year, where again, Mukta, you think it takes 2 days to learn Mukta. We learnt it for a year in Kollel. So that was actually our first Zaman with Semichas Chaver.
Right.
And again, I've got this special connection to Mukta. And my Rabbeim in halacha have been Rabbi Rezhna from Manchester, was one of my first Rabbeim in halacha, and obviously Rabbi Cohen, who's the senior Rav in Yerushalayim, and like Rabbi Tugendhaft, Baruch Hashem, we've got the zechus in Yerushalayim to be part of and under the federation umbrella. So we've got the tremendous zechus to have shimush from Rabbi Zimmerman Shlita, who is the Rav and of the federation. He's the Rav of the Rabbonim of the federation shuls, and we have shimush with him every couple of weeks, which is mamish fantastic. He's a baki in our.
Went into London.
Oh, so I'll tell you actually, very interesting. He joined the federation just before COVID. So just before COVID, I was so excited about having shimush from Rabbi Zimmerman. The only problem is in London, and I'm in Manchester. So I was trying to orchestrate. So I used to go for work. I used to go to London every few weeks. So I tried to orchestrate it, and I did it a couple of times. That I'd go for work on a Monday when there was Chabura, and I'd be able to join them in the Chabura for the hour or whatever it was, which was fantastic. But going to London, it wasn't so simple. Then COVID hit, and everything went on Zoom. And Baruch Hashem, for me, it stayed on Zoom. So it's fantastic. Obviously, the London Rabbonim prefer it as well, because they tried to get it back off Zoom. But the way it works is everyone's just where they are, in their office, wherever it is, and everyone joins in. And it's fantastic, because what happens is we have all of our shilas that we're able to deal with ourselves, that we deal with. But then what happens is every couple of weeks we join together with the Rav, with Rabbi Zimmerman, and we throw him the shilas which have been too difficult, and he mamish unpacks the sugi each time. So we're able to mamish.
What was one interesting shiloh you've had recently?
So we actually, myself and Reb David Tugendhaft, we also give Dirshus Shurim. So at the last Chabura, I asked Rabbi Zimmerman, I said, B'shus the Rav, does the Rav mind giving us a little bit of hadracha regarding what was the particular shilas we asked? Yeah, we asked about Shabbos shtoros. To have a Jewish business staying open over Shabbos. We said when would it be okay? How does it work? Etc. etc. And Baruch Hashem, he spoke us through the whole sugya, as well as giving us some lemaisa psakim that he's dealt with. So do you want me to share one example, one story?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, so he mentioned what I'll tell you Geshmak and Maisa. He told us a couple of Maisas. He told us one Maisa. So he himself, it seems that he did shimush by the Skvera Dayan. I can't remember his name. Do you know any names of the Dayan in New Square? Geschmack Meister. So there was, it seems that a balabos from the SCPodcast Chaver came to the Dayan, and he said, I've got a business venture. And the business venture is going to be, I'm going to be buying an amusement park. Right, next level. It was serious investment. So the Dayan said, listen, versteht sich that it's not going to work unless you open on Shabbos. He said, but you can't go into such a venture like Achilla. He said, we might sort out some sort of way for it to be open on Shabbos. If it's a Shas attack, it's shown b'diavad, you're already in the business. V'chulu, v'chulu, v'chulu. But to go into such a venture like Achilla, he said, take your whatever it is, $50 million, and invest in something else. Right? To go into such a thing like Achilla, we don't do. Listen to what the guy responded. He said, yeah, I hear you. He said, but you got to realize this is going to be an amusement park in the Catskills. And I'm going to make sure that on Sunday there's going to be separate times. So there'll be times for the boys and times for the girls. So it means there'll be a kosher place for Yidden to go through in the summer. And apparently the Dayan said, Rabbeim was there, he said, Oy bazoi, we'll sort it out. Das ist schon a Shas at the fact. And it could be in such a situation we mutter. And again, that's so Baruch Hashem, I'm zoicha to be able to have Shemesh from Rabbi Zimman, who answers our shilas, and we get to hear from him practical advice, etc., etc. So Baruch Hashem.
And how has Semichas Chaver affected the Kehila or Yerushalayim and in general Manchester?
Absolutely amazing. And again,
there was an amazing story. There was a write up about it this week in the Chabad like website.
That's right.
Anash, do you want to share a little bit part of that, or a different
as it happens, I don't know if you know, but my roots are in Chabad.
Oh, okay.
So the story which started in Arthabura, no, Yerushalayim is not yet the Chabad shul. It's not the Chabad shul. But my roots definitely are originally Chabad. So I'll tell you the story very bekitzer. When we learnt halachos nida last winter, I think it was. So when we started this man, then we announced, we didn't mention anyone's name in particular, but I zikr had it in mind. We said that this should be that learning this man should be a zechus for anyone who's struggling with having children. And there was one of the Bnei Chabura who unfortunately had been married for a number of years. I think it was 7 years or 8 years at the time, without any children. He was sitting there in front of me, mamash as I was saying it, and we said we should have in mind that it should be in such a zechus. And then 10 months later, Baruch Hashem, pssak Shaya had his first child. So amazing. And then, as you just mentioned, there's been a write-up in a Chabad news sheet that the same mice is basically pretty much repeated in 3 other places or something.
Yeah, because what happens is Chabad, the way it works with Semichas Chaver Chabad is in the beginning, what happened is that we would do the same material every Zman.
Yeah.
But what I do is when I send it, there's 2 people that run all of Semichas Chaver Chabad, Rabbi Tzalel Bassman and Rabbi Avram. I'm just like two big tzaddikim. Okay, and basically what happens is that they like to add the Shulchan Aruch Harav and the paiskim of like the Chabad paiskim. So doing the same liba, the same zman is difficult. So what we do is they're like a year behind the rest of the Vel. And in the meantime, we send all the notes to Chabad paisik, to Rav, to an editor, and he goes over everything and he just adds, the psakim of Chabad. So when they were up to learning Nida, which was a year after you. So I told him, I said, listen, you have to tell this to the Welt. You have to tell this to the Rabbanim that it's Mamish's Gula. And they did. And a lot of the Rabbanim said, and then he said that just now it was Gimel Tammuz a few weeks ago. And he went to the Ayel and he met a few of the other Rabbanim. And 2 other places or 3 other places said that they had a Yeshua there also. It's Mamish, it's an incredible thing. Really, really special.
Amazing. Yeah, so I'll tell you how else it's affected the shul. So first of all, it's actually the only shir that takes place in the actual shul during the week. So Baruch Hashem, every night and every morning, there's loads of shirim in the Beis Medrash. We've got Beis Medrash in the back of the shul, and we've got Gemara shirim, and Mishnah Berurah shirim, and other Gemara shirim, and all sorts going on Baruch Hashem. But the only shir that's actually in the main shul is the Semichas Chaver shir. That was Baruch Hashem due to its popularity. Klyne horror. And it's changed the way a lot of the Chaver interact with halacha, simply because a lot of people they when when they have a shaila, then they look at it as like an obstacle, and they ask the Rav and get a pssak. Right? Ask, be told yes or no, and then move on. But now they're aware that no, when they have a shaila, they're now going to be living Torah. So Chaver will come, they'll ask a shaila, but now they'll be asking why. They'll ask a shaila and they'll say, 1 second, before you tell me anything, does it make sense to say X, Y, and Z? And they'll realize that these aren't obstacles, these are opportunities. Shailas not obstacles, they're opportunities to be able to steig, to lift the Torah. I've had Chaver who tell me, straight out, they've never ever learnt in this sort of way before, ever. Where we're mamish thrashing out real shailas, there's back and forth during the share. People are thinking about new scenarios. People are texting me during the week. What happens if here? What happens if there? Based on this pssak, what would happen? And it just opens up the Torah in such a massive way. There was one of our guys who, after the first man, he calls me up after his test, and he smashed his test. And he calls me up. He says, "I want to take it to the next level." So what do you mean? He said, "I want to do smicha. I want to do a saveta." And he's doing it. He's doing it. We are now, we are now just nearly 3.5 years later. And he's finished the material, and he's now doing Chazara about the material. And he's doing it. And this is Semichas Chaver, because it's opened him up. This guy learned in yeshiva. And I can good learning as well. He's not stum. He can learn very, very well. I hope he's listening to it. But he never learnt to the application of halacha l'maisa.
Learning halacha l'maisa is a whole different. It's a whole different ballgame. It's like when people get like a taste of the geschmack. First of all, the shalshalas of the Mesorah, how you see it like mamish passed down from generation to generation, and then also you get a taste of it. It's contagious. People, you don't want to stop, which is an amazing thing. Which is what you see and what we see really in a lot of places. So, and it's really a chashuv thing. People always say like, how do you get so many people? They just come, they learn. People love, like, people who never thought that they liked learning came, they checked it out, and they're like, wow, I'm actually learning to know what I'm doing. And that's like the feedback that you were saying before that we get a lot, is that whenever you're learning about a mitzvah, whatever it is, and then like you learn the halacha, and then you actually perform the mitzvah, it's a whole different mitzvah. It's like you're mamish connecting to it, and in your head, you're going through all the shitas, and it becomes a teres chaim. It's not just, okay, like you said, I'm checking my box, I did it, Shalom Yisrael, but rather it's a really an amazing thing. So let's transition into the halachos, into the Teres Chaim. We want to get the Rav's perspective, your halacha, your halacha l'maisa, your from your background, from your yeshivas, or from whatever it is. I'll go through a few shilas. If you have, I'll ask you first. Is there any interesting shaila on the halachas that we're learning that came up during this man? Or I would say part 2 of that question, or part 1, you can take either one, is what was like the halacha that was, most shocking to people? I always find this like interesting. Like you're teaching halacha, and everyone's like, what? I didn't know that was true.
What was most shocking to people? So I don't think there was anything particularly shocking, but what the Olim got quite excited by my achronim, where we basically presented in my achronim as is the pashtus is there's a chiyuv. That's how we presented it, and some of the yakas got a bit excited. Baruch Hashem. And Baruch Hashem, we've got quite a few yakas in the Chaver.
And now they're doing more.
Sorry.
Now they're doing my achronim, or
it was very interesting. It was very interesting. One of the Chaver said to me, it was after shir very often the Olim will come over, we'll shmooze, will say, what about this, what about that? So one of the Chaver said to me, okay, fine. So from now on, I'm going to try and do my achronim. And then another one of the yakas, again, both gelernte Chaver, that B'nai Torah, and says, what are you talking about? You can't just take on my achronim. You don't do it. You don't do it for a reason. And there was a risk there, and there was a risk of biflal over the concept of minhagim, how these things work. So the Olim got quite excited regarding that.
They say that minig is the same letters as Gehenna.
Yep.
So they say if it's my minig, it's minig. Minig Yisrael Torah. If it's your minig, it's Gehenna.
That's right. That's right. But wow, there's so many nuances in my achronim. L'moshel, there's one of our Chaver who again, a yeka. I'll tell you his name. I'll tell you the name. He's a dunner. So I don't know if you heard of any dunners around the world. There's Dayan Dunner from Stamford Hill. There's original Rav Dunner. There's quite a few
There's
of
a
them.
Gershon Miller who teaches Semichas Chaver in London.
Gershon Dunner, of course, good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Of course. So he mentioned to us, his name is Binyamin. Binyamin Dunner is one of the Chaver. And he mentioned that he noticed one of his cousins is a Talmud Chacham, that he does Ma'am Achronim and he bedafka speaks afterwards.
Okay.
So it was geschmack. It's geschmack. He said he's going to try and find out what pshat is. But we were all once we'd seen the material, then we could suggest stuff. Maybe pshat is because he's got a minig not to, and he's a bit flashish about that. But he wants to do it. So therefore, maybe he's speaking in between because at least he's got the Aruch HaShulchan. It doesn't have the Mishnah Berurah. It was Givaldic because everyone's then able to sort of suggest their own point, and all of a sudden everyone starts noticing what they're doing at home. Right? A lot of us do stuff by rote, right? But you start noticing what you're doing by rote. So the marshal, even for me, so like I mentioned, although I'm not, I went to literary yeshivas, and my father's clean shaven, but we do have our roots in Chabad from Doris. So and I was brought up davening in Chabad shul. So we've always done Ma'am Achronim just on the fingertips. Not until the whatever it's called, the second knuckle that the Mishnah Berurah describes. So we look into it, and I'll tell you something which I noticed, mamish fascinating. So again, the official Chabad minig is fingertips only, not until the knuckle. So Ashton's, I remember checking into this when we did it with Dirshu. I saw in Piskei Teshuvos, they bring down the idea is because the Ruach Ra, I think, again, this is all just I think,
Sitra Achra, right? You're being feeding a Sitra Achra.
because it's only chal when it comes off the fingers. So as long as it's on the fingers, then it's not chal, the Sitra Achra, the Ruach Ra, whatever you call it. So mainly don't do it too much. That's all that. Not from Lubavitch. I think it was from Bells. I don't know exactly where it's from, or maybe it was Divrei Chaim. But that was one pshat. So Chabad do on the fingertips, and I noticed, and I checked back in the Seder after. I remember noticing on Seder night that it says in the Chabad Haggadah that we do Ma'am Achronim, but we don't put our hands over our lips, even though normally we do. What's happens? What's pshat?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was thinking just before we came on. I was thinking that maybe it's to do with because Seder night's Leil Shimurim. And the whole reason why you put your fingers over your lips, as we learned in Semichas Chaver, because it could lead to dangerous things happening. Obviously, Ken Zion on Seder night, you don't have to be worried about that. But we wouldn't even think about these things if we weren't living it. Like this, it becomes alive. It comes alive, and all these little nuances we can suggest. Like I mentioned, like the Dunner Minhag, all these different minhagim, and everyone's trying in during the shit. Well, we do this at home, we do that at home, and well, you're just Amaratzim. No, we don't. I'm say that, but it can get exciting. It can get exciting.
Amazing. What about once we're on the topic of Ma'am Achronim, let's go into Zimun a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. So the chiyuv, I think this is like a very common question that happens, especially if people have like bar mitzvah age kids at home. Specifically here in Eretz Yisrael, where people leave all the time. So you have a kid, he met up with his friend, he's Shabbos lunch, you're schlepping your meal to, who knows how long, and he wants to go hang out with his friends. So now you have a problem with Zimun. What would you recommend? What would you say in such a situation?
Kshmaka Shaila. Okay, so the pashtus is again, my oldest kids are girls. So it's not.
No problem.
Was that?
If they're bar mitzvah, lechora, they're still mechuyev in the Zimun.
In Chanami, that's why we do have a Zimun every week. But in Chanami, and by the way, that's a big problem. A lot of women don't know that when you got 3 men and then a woman, then the chayish is mechuyev as much as the men are. But I assume we're going to get there in Semichas Chaver, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You can get after it. Yeah, of
Okay.
course. That's more of a woman or a fleet.
So again, back to the Shaila. So again, I'm here in my home, and I've got my brother and his son, Lamoshel, and the son wants to go to a friend. What would we say? So although he can't be mechayev us because we're not his talmidim, and us two are continuing to eat, and he's leaving. So if it was 2 of them wanting to leave my brother and his son, then they can mechayev me to do a zimun. So he can't be mechayev me. But l'chayra, what we should do is we should explain to him the halacha, and say to him, we're going to do you a favor and we're going to do a zimun now. That's l'chayr the best. That's l'chayr the best option.
What happens if there's 5 of you
Oh,
and he's leaving,
oh,
right? And two of you are going to answer.
yeah.
2 of you are going to answer, but then there's going to be another 2 who, let's say, don't answer.
Yeah. So as was demonstrating the beautiful videos last week.
Oh, so explain this. Tell us about the videos.
I'm not giving up my day job, but I'm quite excited about the videos from last week where I took some, I think they call them menchies. These little little Lego pieces, little Lego men. Jiddische men. There was some Hasidische Yidden daten. So the halacha is, again, when you got five men, and 2 of them are leaving, and I do a zimun with one of the other guys remaining, but the other 2 are schmoozing, they're not listening. Then according to the Mishnah Berurah, the other 2 guys now cannot do the zimun anymore. They can't do the zimun anymore with the person who's answered. So in a chanami, if that's the situation, then they're stuck. And l'chayra, again, always prevention's the best. So prevention would mean tell the guys, listen, this is your one opportunity to create a zimun, and therefore you better listen. L'chayra, that would be the ideal thing to do. Although we did see that there are shitters though who are mekel.
Right. There's the Mishnah Berurah, I think, quotes another shita that says good. Yeah. It's also fascinating. What about, I don't know if you know America. America, there's still a lot more Mishugayim than in London. But in America, they have on July 4th, they have this like famous, it's called a hot dog eating contest. You heard of this thing?
Nope.
Where it's like the more, it's crazy. It's mama's just like, it's fun to see men acting like animals. So they see how many hot dogs you can eat in, I don't know exactly what the time period is. So this year, one of the Chavra who was like doing it, I'm surprised it doesn't happen every year, but this year he like vomited everywhere.
Oh, you think?
One of the guys. So someone sent me a text, he's like, does he have to bench? Like, this guy's a guy, obviously, right? But he's like, does he have to bench? Which is funny. It's like someone is watching, a hot dog eating contest, or he gets a video about it, and like the first thing that pops into his head is the sugi that we learned. Is he mechuyev the bench? Is he not mechuyev the bench? Is it, but unfortunately, it is lamaisa. I've had people who've asked me who they got sick. They got like a stomach virus on Shabbos night, and they threw up. They had a shayla if they need to make kiddush again, which is a whole other shayla. If you're the kiddush or not, but they wanted to know also for benching. They made kiddush. They had a kizayis of challah, and they came and they vomited everything out. So they wanted to know if you have to bench in such a situation. What would you say legabi kiddush? Let's say legabi both, legabi kiddush and benching.
Interesting. As it happens, when we spoke about this in Shir, then I mentioned that when I was a kid, a friend of mine went to America, and he went to one of these eat all you can restaurants. But he's got quite a kaga English stomach, so he can't actually eat that much either way. So he went, and he'd paid whatever it was, and after a few minutes he was full. So he thought, what a waste of money. He was a kid at the time. Obviously, this wouldn't happen today. He went outside and he made himself sick up. Yeah, absolutely disgusting. So yeah, it does. So these things do happen. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, Einachanami. So Lefega, like we saw in the material, we've got, I think it was a Chutshani. If I'm not mistaken, Remnissim.
Right.
I think he said that if he still feels full up, then l'chayri he can still bench. L'chayri can still bench. So l'chayri will be dependent on that. If he feels that that's enough, although I've sicked up, I'm good to go, then he'll have to bench.
And what was the Gabi Kiddush?
So what's the shadow going Kiddush? Would he have been Yotze Kiddush?
Yeah.
L'chayri, because the l'chayri, the thought of Kiddush is Kiddush halachos. So he's done Kiddush halachos, and we know that b'diavad, it can even be, doesn't have to be him who has the whole Maloi Lugmov. So l'chayri, the Maloi Lugmov, it's happened. It's all been done. L'chayri has fulfilled the mitzvah of Kiddush halachos. L'chayri, Kshmak Shayla.
Exactly. Meaning, like, even though we're machmer, even if you want to be machmer when it comes to like the bread and the benching, so that's just the whole shayla That's a shayla in did you have a kazai sanat? But like you're saying, by kiddush l'chora, you're yet to kiddush anyways.
Yeah, there's no
Just
din
if
of
you
a
have.
savata there or anything like that. It's a din in
Well,
Kiddush halachos, and that's happened. L'chora.
and what would you say halacha l'maisa regarding? And this is common at chasanas, that people don't know aren't as careful, or maybe they don't need to be with regards to zimun with a microphone, or in
Yeah.
general, like just davening with a microphone. People don't know. Like a lot of times you have Avdallah, Amoti Shabbos. They do it in camps, and you want everyone to hear. You want to do like a musical Kabbalah Shabbos. So microphone or not,
Yeah, interesting. I actually spoke about this at my son's bris suda 3.5 years ago. It was during COVID, so everything was being done over Zoom. The bris, even the bris itself, it was most people watched it over Zoom, and the bris suda was a mini mitzumtzum, and there were people watching over Zoom. So I discussed about microphones and brachas over Zoom and all that sort of discussion. But yeah, regarding a microphone by Chaver brachas. So as it happens, just happens to be last week at my nephew's chasana, they insisted on doing it all without a microphone, which l'chera is the best. L'chera is
the
the best.
chasana,
The
chasana
chasana.
or the show.
Chasana. No, but again, no, but in the actual dinner for the zimun and the Chaver brachas, they did it all under the chuppah. I presume it was the same thing, but I don't remember. I presume it was the same thing. But l'chera, if it's possible, then that would be fantastic. If one person could just shout it out. But as long as 10 people could, in theory, hear it, if there was no microphone there, then many posts were happy with that as well. As long as 10 people could, in theory, hear it, because you've got your 10 people there, which I think in the notes was also pretty much discussed.
Have you ever done zimun on the plane?
No, but I'll tell you something else. I was in Poland 3 weeks ago with Manchester Masifta, and we were in a coach journey together. And we did when we stopped in order to wash for lunch, and then we went on the coach from wherever it was to the next place. We're then going to be on the coach for 2 hours. And I said, "L'chera, we should do zimun with Alikenu." And then when I came back, then that was actually my next shift, which I hadn't looked at yet. So, but if I'm not mistaken, I think that's what we say. That if it's if it's a relatively smooth journey and the olim are clearly together, then l'chera should do zimun with Alikenu.
Yeah, fascinating. Like these halachas, a lot of times people won't put two together. I'm on the coach, I'm eating, and I was once on a halal flight and they blew shofar. That was like that's the lady.
That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
It's like, who are you, Shaya Mishanascha?
Brilliant.
So Rav Shaya, if you can leave us with any tip, any piece of advice to improve our benching, any piece of advice in general, I'm leaving it there. Anything that you can leave us with, we will grab.
Yeah, I'll give you a piece of advice regarding benching. It's just something which I picked up myself. So since starting this man, and it was actually since the one of the philosophical parts of the shir. What do you call it? The hashkafa part of the shir.
Yeah.
So there was a story there about a person who went through the camps, and he never lacked any food because Rameir Shapiro, when he was a kid, Rameir Shapiro forheard them, and Rameir Shapiro told them, "I'm going to give you something which is going to last you forever, and that's that if you bench from a bencher properly, you'll never be lacking." And it was amazing, Maisa, and I said it over in shul as well. It's big chizuk. But as it works, when you try and give other people chizuk, then it rubs off on yourself as well. So I said, you know what? I need to practice what I'm preaching. And I decided I'm going to try and bench from a bencher as well. And I noticed something amazing, that with my kids' benchers, the Gadi Pollack bencher with pictures, benching is so geschmack. There's about 10-15 words to each page. And it keeps you focused because it gives you a picture of what the words are about. And my benching has been upgraded phenomenally, and especially the fact that we're learning about this now, so that's sort of keeping me focused on it. But every benching now, I'm trying to bench dafka from that bencher. In fact, normally during the week, I bench in my kitchen as opposed to in our dining room. and I've moved one of the kids' benches to there so that I can actually use this kiddie bencher.
Amazing.
And I don't know how it came up, but I admitted it in share that that's what I was doing. And then a few of the Chaver told me afterwards that they tried it as well, and it was really useful. So it works for me. So it works. I hope it works for others as well.
Amazing.
So yeah, and also just want to give a shout out as well to Reb David Tugendhaft, who agreed to learn with me, to prepare with me the shiurim. We learn together every week, and it's a tremendous chus. It's a tremendous chus to be part of a chevra. After I put out the videos last week, other Magidi Shir were in touch, and we kept a little schmooze, and it's gewaldig to be part of such a movement. The revolution, right? The SCP revolution. I think that's
Right.
the social media a name. So it's amazing. It's amazing. So Baruch Hashem.
Really, real siyata d'shmaya. So Chicago, Chicago for all the tips, and we should really, benching is a lifelong thing. Baruch Hashem, every day of our lives, almost we need to eat, and if we can do it properly, you can check off. You can say with confidence, my whole life I benched. From the moment I started learning, I benched k'moshe tzarich, and it's an incredible thing if you can, if you can really be mischazik in your benching and really have the emunah and the bitachon that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has done, and the mefarnis lakol.
Exactly. One of the Chaver told me, he said, he's been benching with more kavanah recently. He said he's looking at the words and he's thinking, if these words were tefillah only said in Yom Kippur, people would be shrieing, they'd be screaming these words. And it's just a matter of us, to sort of remind ourselves again and say, yes, although we do say it every day, and although we sort of know it by rote, but to remind ourselves, these are chashuv words. These are real tefillahs which we can tap into, no problem. So, yashikar to you for reminding us.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Hashem should bless you for the Gashmias.
Oh, amazing.
And only good things. Yes, in regards to all the Bnei Chabura in Manchester.
Thank you so much, and a slacha to you and all of your beautiful avodas hakodesh.